Yeah. Oh man. Hey guys. Hello everybody. My name is Dan Duran and I'm the host of the Tech Lounge. Here we discuss and we share topics and stuff about business, technology, cybersecurity, and today is going to be a very fun and entertaining show because we're going to be talking about the biggest scams and scammers in history.
Crazy.
Crazy stuff. I guess not the biggest because like we're not going to talk about Enron.
History,
but
yeah.
We're this is an entertaining and educational podcast, right? First and foremost, and we're going to talk about fraud, extortion, blackmail, embezzlement, hustlers, and scammers. So it's going to be a very, very juicy show.
It is for sure.
Unfortunately, it's just ourselves, Andrew Summerton, in the house, the Rock of Rhino. Hello, Andrew. How are you?
I'm good, Dan. Good to be back on Friday afternoon.
Yes.
And unfortunately, we're missing G Money in the house, but that's okay. We love him. We send our love to G Money, and we hope we see him again soon.
Yes, G Money is working from the dials, from the back room. He's like, "Hey guys, I'm going to go into the dark side for a bit and control everything on the dial." So that's pretty good, and we're happy. We're gonna have him probably in a few other shows, but today is going to be very, very good. Just remember, we stream live every Friday at 12 o'clock. So don't miss it. Eastern Standard Time, and we're also on LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. So please make sure you follow the hashtag Dan Duran every Friday. Join us. Now sit back and relax. This is the Tech Lounge. All right. Okay, Andrew, so who do we have in the line today? Let's see.
We have the biggest scams in history. I see that. Okay, we've got Oscar. Happy Friday, guys. Well, happy Friday to you, Oscar. Welcome.
Hey, Oscar.
And
fantastic, guys.
Cengiz. Happy Friday to you, buddy.
Cengiz, I was looking at your LinkedIn post. You were giving a talk, and it looked very nice on the picture, man. So congrats. I wish I would have been there. And yeah. So
shout outs. I sent the shout outs to him as well. I think it's quite an honor. I mean, obviously, well respected individual in his space. There's no question. So
absolutely. Who else do we have online?
Aura. Hello,
Aura.
I'm really Oh, there's Tamara.
Hello, Tamara.
Hi, Tamara. I'm looking forward to this show because you know what's been really proactive and a lot of with Netflix and everything else. A lot of real life shows have been documentaries, etc. on this, all the scammers and stuff. So there's a lot of this that's out there. You can actually visualize and watch in an entertainment format, which is crazy.
Yeah, and I think
Adrian.
We have 6 different scammers that we're going to be talking about, and I think we should just go to the first one. Oh, Adrian,
there's my water. This says Powerade, but it's actually filled with water. So there's my water. There you go, Adrian.
Yeah, my coffee. Oh,
what happened?
I don't know. I think I touched something. I'm wearing my Canada shirt because it's May 24, Victoria Day on Monday. This is a long holiday, so, and also my Toronto FC hat, soccer. All right, so let's talk about the granddaddy of all scammers. Okay, number one. Numero uno. Bernie Madoff. Oh man, who remembered this guy? Crazy dude, man.
I'm sure a lot of people wish that they don't remember him.
Yeah, he was brutal. So I have a little clip here, and we're gonna be talking about this guy, right? So if you have any comments, any questions, just post them online, Dan, and then we'll be able to display that.
Dan, before you post this, guys, the reason we're having this show, again, as Dan said it earlier, this is all about education, fun, learning as we go along. And this is, talk about cybersecurity and technology and everything else. This is real life scammers that do things in their own way in different industries, not just technology, but it's all about manipulation. It's all about call to urgencies. It's all about missing out. It's all about taking advantage of a situation. And
Yes.
so this show today is just about being aware. It's not just cybersecurity aware or different things, people taking advantage or stealing off your front porch. It could be grandeur opportunities that people speak of or direct you to through a word of the mouth or through different scenarios that cause you to get trapped. And these are some of the biggest things that do
Yes.
that. And we just wanted to bring it to your attention, have a little bit of fun about that, just to open up your mind about people out there doing these things to other
Absolutely.
people.
And the key is that, I mean, the thing is that scams are, they've been around forever in scammers since the creation of the universe, right? Since the human beings actually stepped foot on this earth, there's always been scammers, right?
100%. Absolutely.
Yeah. All right. So let's talk about Bernie. Oh, hold on one second. Let me see this. There you go. Now you're going to be able to hear.
Bernie Madoff ran the largest Ponzi scheme in history, which at its height had an apparent $65 billion in assets under management, made up of investments by everybody from Wall Street billionaires to pension funds. This all came crashing down in December of 2008, as the fraudulent businessman was arrested and subsequently charged to face over 100 years in prison, a sentence that he served up until his death last month. But here's the thing. Bernie's fraud was not that bad. In fact, there was arguably more damaging behavior taking place in the markets day in and day out by some of the most revered businessmen in the world.
Yeah, that's
To
very
understand
controversial
this,
there.
it's time to
Very
learn
controversial.
by defending the indefensible to really understand how Bernie Madoff ran his business. So, the basic function of a Ponzi scheme is that a legitimate operation is set up.
So that's Bernie. I don't know. He was pretty bad, man. I mean, this guy's saying it wasn't that bad, but I think it was
It was
horrible.
very,
He stole a lot of money from like individuals that put
people lost their
everything.
lives. They lost
They,
their livelihoods. I mean, they had nothing afterwards. So he was. Don't downplay it. And just so we know, for a disclaimer in this, guys, this is just a show about us bringing awareness of There, you got to play that of documentation and literature that's been publicized and is out there for the public to watch and share. So this is not of our opinion or our insight, or certainly not our
100% my opinion, though.
It's your opinion, but that's it. That's all. But we are certainly not experts in this field. We're sharing documentation and literature to take with it what you want and learn from it, and then do your own research, of course, afterwards.
Yeah. So this guy ran a Ponzi scheme, right? And for those of you who don't know what a Ponzi scheme is, it's basically like a pyramid, right?
Yeah.
So what you have is you have the top level schemer, like the guy on top, like Bernie Madoff, who is getting other people to get other people to get other people to give them money in the hopes of getting really big returns. So, as an investor, a banking investor, a financial investor, if somebody comes up to you and says, hey, you know what? I can give you 20% on your investment, way better than banks, way better than if you put your money in a savings account. You only get 1% or 3%. The stock market, if you play it, you might get, up to, 7%, 5%. But these people are, like they are promising you like 30, 50%, doubling your money in like a few years and stuff like that. So what they do, they take your money, right? And they don't give it back to you. And then if it works, pyramid schemes work because they're always feeding you a little bit of money, right? So if you ask for dividends, they're always giving you the dividends and kind of like returns, but the actual capital sits inside of the pockets of the company. So as long as the money keeps on moving and moving and moving, then nobody notices that there's a pyramid scheme until something happens in the industry. In the stock market, things go kind of sour. There is a recession or something happens where everybody's jumping ship and they want to take their money, and that's when there's no money in the coffers, right? The bank is closed, guys, and that's what happened with Mr. Bernie Madoff. right?
And that's a big thing to look out for, right? When you're investing your money, I mean, obviously you always have to be looking at exit strategies and the ability to have access to it, and there is long-term investments, etc. But just be very aware, like we always talk about, education, education, education. Be aware of what you're getting involved in, all because someone or trust is giving you a great information in regards to an investment or a Ponzi scheme you don't know. Do your own research. Don't just take that person's word for it. It's all about exit strategy, the credibility of the organization, the history of the organization, how far back can you track it, the individuals who are in charge. It's all critical. So just do your due diligence so you don't ever get yourself in a position where you're stuck.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. So the key one of the things about Ponzi scams and pyramid scams is that they're very, very hard to detect. It is extremely hard. If you look at, for example, Bernie Madoff, it was an actual legal company doing legal stuff, right? And this is what happens. And at the end, and you have, like, I don't know if you guys watched like the king of crypto, the crypto king on Netflix. And he did exactly the same thing but using crypto, right? And we're going to watch that. We're going to watch a couple of videos of that Netflix documentary. Very good documentary. Definitely you should watch it.
There's
And
also
it's hard to detect.
Pardon, Dan, I cut you off. I apologize. Go ahead, Dan.
No, it's hard to detect. The only way you can actually detect it is by using your common sense. Is by saying, hey, you know what? This is too good to be true. And if you get that gut feeling, in your gut, and you're thinking logically, not about the money or the promise for money that you're going to get, things will make sense for you, right? There is no such a thing as like a quick buck.
Very
right?
rare, unless you're at the lottery, unless you're at the casino and you accidentally put in a buck and you win the jackpot. That's about it.
Exactly.
Just so you know, in regards to the Bernie Madoff story, there is a movie called The Wizard of Lies, and it's with Robert De Niro's in it, Michelle Pfeiffer. So it's a good movie, and it's about the Bernie Madoff story.
Wow. And you know what? The guy actually climbed up pretty high on Wall Street, right? He was very respected, and he just was, oh man, really bad. All right, who is next? Any questions? Any comments? Any shout outs online?
Scammer. Okay. Jordan Belfort. This is a fun one, but 1 second. Let's see. Brian, we have Brian has made a comment. I'm not sure if Gladstone, you want to post Brian's comment maybe from LinkedIn, if he's there. So Brian basically loved this, inviting my followers via my Friday post of 5 minutes ago. Thanks so much, Brian.
Appreciate Brian. All right, so let's talk about the next one. The next one is super. I mean, everybody knows this movie. Everybody's watched this. And
you've actually probably seen what's his name on TikTok when he walks up to him in the car and he says, "Really, you want to sell me a pen?"
Yeah.
Sell me this pen.
Okay, so guys, I really had to kind of like get one of the nicest and more family oriented clips from this movie, because man, I didn't want to put my favorite clips because it's
politically not correct.
There's drugs, sex, and all that stuff combined in those clips, right? So I try to find the one that actually makes sense and it's not as boring as the other ones, right? Like, yeah.
This is if you want to be entertained and you want to understand, really understand his life story, etc. Wolf of Wall Street it's a really great movie. But it's a good entertainment movie, but it also is a great eye opener movie because it's all about penny stocks and being taken advantage of. Over to you, Dan.
But there's two movies, right? The old one,
that's right.
Yeah, it's a really good movie. And then there's the remake with Leonardo DiCaprio, which is my favorite, of course. And Hungry for Money. salespeople. So this is what salespeople do, right? They watch this movie and they love it. They love it.
That's great.
Anybody who is a salesperson can attest to, liking this movie and just getting pumped on the sale when watching Wolf of Wall Street, right? All right.
That our clients can believe in, a company that our clients can trust.
And to celebrate with our weekly act of debauchery, I have offered our lovely sales assistant, Danielle Harrison here, $10,000 to shave a fucking head!
I think it was politically correct. That's not friendly.
Well, yeah, I didn't want to show the little people.
You on the floor like rolling around and shit.
All right. Okay. So Wall Street.
So yeah, I mean, this Hollywood glamorizes this. There's no question. I mean, it is an incredible story and a journey this guy took. And again, Hollywood made it into a great movie, but ultimately he took advantage of a system with penny stocks, and basically, took advantage of an awful lot of people and made an awful lot of money from it, and got prosecuted for it, of course.
Exactly. So the guy, basically what the guy did is, when the recession, and I think in the 1992, or I think it was 1992 or something like that, and everything went kind of like sour, he started selling penny stocks, right? Penny stocks for under $1 to people. Right. And then once they bought, then he would try to dump the crappy stuff, right? All of the bad stuff. But that is not the fraud that he committed. That was an actual business. What he did is the manipulation of the stock market through the initial public offer, right? With
Kenneth Cole, I think.
Sorry?
Kenneth Cole. I think it was a Kenneth Cole stock is what he shortchanged, and they bought all the stock on it and stuff, and then basically that's where it became an internal fraudulent act in the space. Exactly.
So he did a pump and dump strategy on the IPO for I forget the name of the company, the shoe company.
Kenneth Cole.
What? Yeah. Oh, okay. Yes, absolutely. So this guy. There's 2 movies made out of him, and there's a lot of stuff and information about this guy. He was pretty smart dude, right? Like, these guys are usually very conniving and very, very intelligent. They know their stuff inside out. Any comments out there?
Did anybody see this movie? Did they enjoy it? Did they learn from it? And you know what? Just so you know, I mean, I personally buy penny stocks, but I do it through the stock exchange, and buy some, sell some, etc. But I have watched the movie. It's an eye-opener, a truth about investment market. Absolutely. There's no question. And again, it's fun. And that's one thing about Hollywood, guys. I'm watching a lot.
Oh, I think Andrew is dropped off.
For these documentaries, is they do.
You just dropped off, Andrew, for a second or two.
Am I back?
There. You're back.
Okay.
So this movie is great, man. It's an eye opener, and you know what? Yes, it's glamorized by Hollywood, right? But at the end of the day, people that work in this environment on Wall Street are hungry for money all the time. They, and that's just like the dark side of capitalism, when you have big companies and they just wanna make money, and sometimes they infringe on a lot of laws, a lot of safety stuff, and you see company, after company doing bad things, and sometimes it's all a balance for them. So they say, hey, we have a lawsuit. It's gonna cost us $2 million for settlement costs and stuff like that, but we're making like $20 million on this. Might as well just do it and just pay the lawsuit, pay the penalties afterwards. So a lot of companies think about the checks and balances when it comes to this stuff, right?
For sure. Yeah. I mean, Glasso just posted the Boiler Room with Vin Diesel is similar to Wolf of Wall Street. It's great. You know what clip you should have played, Dan, is when he was at home and he was saying like the Fugazi, the Fugazi, and he said it's a whatever, it's a poof, it's
Fugazi. You see it and then you don't, right?
Matthew McConaughey, right? That's what he goes. They're at lunch. It's the first time.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Then we have let's see. Oh yeah, this is the other guy. So let's talk about the next one. Is there any questions, any comments on the chat? Let's bring up some of the
Yeah,
comments.
has anybody ever been in a? I mean, let's put this out there. Has anybody ever been exposed or a part of, or thought that you may have been trying to be taken advantage of? Is anybody want to post anything that maybe was you don't have to share details by any means, but it's always great to hear from the audience to see if there's any been live experiences, not just Hollywood experiences.
Yeah. So yeah, Brian is saying that, by the way, JP Morgan Madoff connection. Interesting. He was the I know that the what is the connection in there? So Joshua Burney, he was head of the committee options. I don't know. There's a connection between JP Morgan and Bernie. Can maybe Brian can actually tell us, because I'm curious on that.
Brian just posted something else actually, so I'm sure he has. Which Gladstone, if you want to post what he just said. Worked on Wall Street, saw a lot. I'm sure Brian did see a lot. I'm sure he did, and experienced a lot.
There you go. Yes, Wall Street. So you've probably seen that in and out.
Been there, done that.
Yeah, been there, done that. Let's talk about the next one. The next scammer, and this one just it's probably a couple of years old, maybe 2 or 3 years old, and we're talking about Mr. Martin Shkrell. Who remembers this dude? Let me put the video clip on. This guy is just looking at him just makes me right.
Been waiting for Shkrell to make a statement. If he does, here he is. Let's take a listen.
On the advice of counsel, I will not be giving an opening statement.
I want to ask you a few questions. What do you say to that single pregnant woman who might have AIDS, no income? She needs Daraprim in order to survive. What do you say to her when she has to make that choice? What do you say to her?
On the advice of counsel, I invoke my Fifth Amendment privilege against self-incrimination and respectfully decline to answer your question.
You were quoted as saying on Fox 5 in New York, you were quoted as saying, if you raise prices and you don't take that cash and put it back into research, I think it's despicable. I think you should not be in the drug business. We take all of our cash, all of our extra profit, and spend it on research for these patients, for other patients who have terrible life-threatening, life-ending diseases. Did you say that?
On the advice of counsel, I invoke my Fifth Amendment privilege against self-incrimination and respectfully.
He's not saying anything. No incriminating comments.
Yeah, so I watched the entire. This is like far back on, I think 2016, 2015, 16, when he was on questioning, right? So he was being questioned, and that's what he did the entire period. For the entire time, he was like, "Oh, I plead fifth, and play fifth." He didn't say a word about anything. And the guy, this guy is despicable, and this is kind of like the heart of Wall Street. This is how sometimes things are so bad on Wall Street that guys like these are able to kind of run shows, right? So
yeah, and I don't know, I'm not as familiar with him. Did he manipulate basically the drug costs for AIDS in his own private company, which affected the stocks? Or how did that? How did that all work? Do you?
No, he was a hedge fund, and he was a hedge fund, and he was caught in not related charges, but other charges that had to do with securities fraud, right?
Oh, okay.
But what he did, the kind of like the thing that he did is that there's an AIDS drug, and he said the name. I forget the name of the AIDS drugs. Which is not very expensive, but this jackass just jacked up the price to like an insane amount. I'm talking about $5,000 or a few $1,000s per pill.
Wow.
On that drug.
So people who needed it couldn't afford it, obviously, and basically put everything they could into it. And wow.
Yeah.
I
So
know there was another company out there too. There was a movie they just did, and I don't want to speak to it, but it was based on OxyContin. If anybody watched it, it was a really good movie, and it was about the manipulation of drugs and OxyContin out there, and basically putting it out there when it wasn't tested and things like that. And again, we're talking about scammers and organizations and companies, and so many companies where FDA was the FDA was involved in it, and there was certain patents that were released, and it's just, there's so many things. And if you educate yourself through, like I said, even through documentaries, etc., you can learn so much. And obviously with the internet of these people doing certain things. So be aware, just be so aware, guys.
yeah.
What does Brian say here?
Yeah, he's just sharing a document from the justice. Maybe we can go to that. Let me see if I can actually go in there. Let's see. I don't think I can actually post that on copy and paste, but I would love to do that. See, no, I can't. So, so this guy was pretty despicable, and he's actually out of prison now, right? So he was released, I think, not too long ago, right? So, yeah, I remember this guy. 2016. I was just, it was nuts, man. It was nuts. All right, so let's talk about the next one.
What's this one? What did Oscar say? I love my money too much to give it to an expert. I'd rather learn myself. Well, you know what? There's something to be said about that, Oscar. I mean, obviously, there's a lot of legal experts out there that you have to be able to trust. All I said is, like, do due diligence, look into them, look at their history, look at their organization. But yeah, I mean, obviously, you can do a lot on your own. There's no question. But just don't put all your eggs in one basket, basically, and don't trust everything everybody says.
Yeah. So that was about the pharma. He used to be called the Pharma Bro, right? And he was released on bail early from prison. I think he went to prison for 7 years, and he was and he basically, what he did, he was defrauding investors, and this is usually what happens. So the charges were not related to the jacking up the prices on the AIDS drug, but it was just defrauding investors, right? And the way he did it is basically he was lying on the performance of the stock, right? So that's how he got caught. Now the next one, let's talk about the next one over. So any questions, any comments in there for us? Okay. Good old Lehman Brothers. Oh man.
I have a friend who used to work there, actually, and he's no longer there.
Yeah, I gotta tell you a story, man. So my father, he went to live in California right before the recession. Okay. And he bought a house, right? And he was paying mortgage, and then he was actually making some pretty good dough in the States. Then he bought another house as an investment property, and he was renting it out. Then he bought another one, and he had like 5 or 6 houses at that point until this happened. The whole entire housing bubble exploded in the States. I don't know if you remember 1998, I believe. That's when the recession happened because of these guys, the Lehman Brothers, famous, completely, took the entire Wall Street by the horns, and at the end, I remember the government bailing this house out and bailing a whole bunch of investment firms and banks out of bankruptcy because of people like these, right?
Fraudulent, yeah.
So in a nutshell, what happened is that all of a sudden the bubble burst and they weren't being backed up. So they created this product, and maybe Brian can talk about this because he's a financial dude and I'm a cybersecurity guy. But basically what happened is they created this product, and it was very shaky. It was a really bad product that had no backing financially, and they sell it abroad to everybody, and everybody started buying it. And when the bubble burst, people wanted their money back, and they didn't get anything. So at the end of the day, the interest rates skyrocketed. Like like my dad, I remember he was paying, like a couple of $1,000 for mortgages um, um, per house, and then all of a sudden he had to pay like $5,000 per house, and he couldn't afford that. So he lost every single house.
Wow.
Yeah, it was pretty brutal, man.
Yeah.
And you know what? The economy didn't recover for a while after that. It affected Canada too. Like we were
Yeah.
affected big time. I remember, man. We felt the recession because the States is one of our biggest partners, right? Trading partners.
Crazy.
Yeah. So the securities, the MTG backed securities, he says. Yeah. Man, Lehman
Mortgage-backed
Brothers.
sector, yeah.
And you know what were the other companies that were bailed out? I don't remember. Maybe Brian, you can post that in there as well. Pretty bad. He says Byron says was counterparty issue with the GS, AIG, and more credit value
Default swaps.
Yeah. Pretty brutal, man. Pretty brutal.
We should have had Brian on our show today.
I know, Brian.
Brian, reach out. We'll have you on our show next time.
Bail us out, man.
Yeah,
We're cybersecurity people talking about financial stuff. We go from the cybersecurity perspective, and what we try to do is actually caution people and tell people to watch out for scammers, right? Financial scams are like very popular in terms of cryptocurrency, for example, nowadays, and there's a lot of people falling victim of scammers. So, but crypto is the same as what it was, like a few years ago with the security scams and stock scams and all of that. But now it's elevated to the virtual world, right?
I think we're going to talk about somebody in that crypto world soon, aren't we there, Dan?
Yes, absolutely. All right, so
I think Shane Giz posted something there, Gladstone. I'm not sure if we can post it. And I got Brian smiling up there. So again, just anytime, Brian, you're welcome. And to Dan's point, guys, again, here we go. So Dan, if you want to.
Yeah, some people, Chengiz says, some people started to sell the bank's foreclosure houses just for the amount of government taxes.
Crazy, just to get out of it.
Yeah,
it's crazy. Yeah, it was a tough time. There's no question.
My dad felt it, man. He felt that he built a good business. He was a landlord. He had a few houses, and he was doing very well. His house was beautiful, and he lost everything on that because of this thing.
So this show is all about awareness, guys. This show is about bringing attention and being educated, etc. Obviously, Brian's sharing some information here, which I think is valuable. So read my post about the next housing bubble, and you know what? I can see it coming as well, and the CMBS happening all over again.
Yes.
Did he post that link, right? Is that the link he's talking about?
Yeah, we'll post it on our chat. Maybe post it on the chat, and then we'll put it on screen. Brian, if you want. You know what? He's completely right. And the house market here in Ontario is pretty nuts, right? I mean, my neighbor, and like when this house a few years ago, like 3 years ago, it was like $300,000.
Now it's like
my neighbor across the street, he just sold his house $1 million.
Million.
And his basement is not even finished, and he sold it for $1 million, man.
It's it's crazy because I've had a lot of conversations, and this is just talking about awareness and stuff, and to Brian's concerns and bringing it to our attention. The financial industry itself, especially with going through COVID and everything, everybody was suffering. But what happened in the last 2 years too is a lot of people who had homes all of a sudden realized their houses are worth from $500,000 now worth $1 million, or $300,000 worth $600,000 or $700,000. So now they have equity. So the banks are lending them money to pay off their credit card debts and all these different things. But if the interest rates ever skyrocket again, then all of a sudden their mortgage payments are going to go through the roof, or the bubble's going to drop, and they're going to owe more on their house, and the house is actually worth, to Brian's point. So, I mean, just again, be careful, leverage yourself carefully, be cautious, be aware. All of a sudden, because if your house on paper is worth 300, now it's worth 600. Yeah, you can leverage that to your advantage. And I'm not saying don't, but just do it. Be careful how you do it and what you do with it.
Yes. So the thing, and where's government in all of this? because okay, so there's something about interest rates, and the Canadian like interest rate says it sends a lot of signals. So what happens is that the Canadian government, the Bank of Canada, raises the prime interest rate, right, by 0.5% or 0.25%, sends signals to all the creditors, all the banks, or the financial institutions, and that raises the interest rate and then slows down the economy a little bit. Okay, so now, like probably about a month ago, and these are news, right? Like everybody hears the news, but if you are kind of like a financial person, you will understand. I'm an economist, so I understand what happens when the government kind of that raises the prime interest rate, and it's just to slow down this thing, right? This bubble that is going to happen. So now, because of that, we see a slowdown on the prices for houses, just a little bit, but it's not much. It's not even causing a dent. So the house market, it was really, really high. And as soon as the government of Canada put up the rate, it went down a little bit. So houses are just a tad cheaper today than they were a month ago, but it's still, it's still going. So I'm not surprised when the government of Canada is going to be raising interest again to a pretty steep rate, and then this is what's going to happen, right?
So can we? So that's all. Let's talk about gas for a second. No, I don't want to go down that rabbit hole. But like we're used to paying 70, 80 cents, and all of a sudden now we're like $2, or like, we're dying here. So, anyways, we could go down that rabbit hole as well. But it's all government, regulated and governed, and we're being. It's just a tough time.
Yeah, well, they blame the conflict of on Russia and the Ukraine on the increase on gas prices. When at the end of the day, we all know that's just a cop out, right? So, man, you know what? I was watching a documentary, and I think 35% of the tax or the price of gas goes to the government coffers. Did you know that?
At least 25%. I heard that for sure. If it's if it's higher, then I do believe it. Yes.
Yes, crazy. All right, Changiz, check out Changiz comments.
What they said. I paid. Exactly.
Changiz says I paid 37 cents for gas in 1993.
I know,
man.
I have a Jeep and I don't want one right now. I love it, but the gas and everything else. No, thanks.
Trust me, I have a big truck and that thing is a guzzler, man. So we have two cars. We have a big truck and we barely use it, and we have a little tiny Volkswagen Jetta that takes us everywhere. The thing is like super good on gas, and I'm not trading that. Yeah,
it's like Cheng says. I had a '69 Mustang with a 351 Cleveland in high school. And let me tell you, I wouldn't want to be filling that up right now.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm pretty sure that all the Tesla owners out there are like,
they're so happy. He's so happy. That's why it's taking you need I think it's a 6 month to a year delivery on Tesla now. So.
Yeah, we got a colorful comment here by Tamara. She says, topic ends up discussing the government, the biggest scammers of all. Ooh. Wow.
All right. Okay. I don't want to be regulated by the government, so we're gonna censor that one. We're not gonna talk on it.
Disclaimer.
Remember, this show is purely for fun, education, and a little bit of insight.
Yes. Yeah. No. Crazy. Yeah. I mean, the money goes to the government on everything, right? So, absolutely insane. Okay. So, who do we have next?
Number four. I think this is this. It is Cotten.
Yes. Gerry Cotten. And for you, I mean, spoiler alert here, right? Because I'm going to show a little clip from Netflix.
I didn't know a lot about him until this show. And it's pretty interesting, actually. It's crazy. And the fact that, I won't spoiler alert. Go ahead.
This is a really good documentary. We watched it with my wife probably about 3 weeks ago, and it's about Gerry Cotten, who is the crypto scam king, right? The crypto king, and this is the guy. And let's watch a trailer. So spoiler alerts in here, right? So There you go.
When I think of somebody who's a criminal mastermind, who's devious, calculating, cunning.
What do you think about that, guys?
That's great. I mean, 24 years old, and then I mean, obviously, it's tech driven, crypto driven, timing driven, and then all of a sudden, did he? Oh, we lost you, Dan. There, he's back. But I mean, did he fake his own death? Is he? I mean, is $190 million locked in his computer? I mean,
okay. Spoilers. This is a really good story, and this guy, that's the controversy, right? There is this. He went to India. He died in India, and they went to India to see the doctor that examined him, and the doctor that produced the documents for the forensic reports. And he says that he was dead.
Yeah, that's what actually Brian just posted that. Actually, if you look on, there's what really happened. Gerry Cotten, Netflix, new truth. So
yeah, the latest on the late Mr. Cotten. Yes, this is the latest stuff, the latest scam. So basically, people don't know if he faked his death or his wife or somebody killed him. And what's really bizarre about this is that like how they say that he took his the passwords with him.
Yeah.
Okay, so here's the thing: when you have crypto, right? Like you're selling crypto and then you own a wallet, right? So there was a huge wallet for this company, right? And people were buying and trading and doing a lot of stuff with crypto. So his wallet was getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And there's this rule in cybersecurity where you can't give authority to just one person. You have to have other people have the information just in case this happens. A person dies, you can't be left with something in your name or on your like a power. In this case, passwords, for example, it should have been part of the company, right?
Yeah.
So if he dies or anybody dies, they can get to the wallet, right? So that's the first clue. The second one is once let's say somebody dies and then there's no passwords, there's no way to access that crypto money, right? The accounts go dormant. They go dormant, right? So there's no trading going on those hashes on that crypto. But then the reporter, what the reporter did is she started investigating on those crypto coins and crypto money, all the hashes, and there was movement in terms of trading. So money would start. They would see that it wasn't inactive. So even if he took his passwords with him to the grave, why was the crypto being moved from hand to hand in the stock market?
But didn't he fake his death at one time and all that happened, and then now he's officially dead, or is that still all controversy?
No, the documentary lets you to believe that the guy is really dead.
Right.
Okay. I mean, we don't know, right?
We don't know for sure.
Because
but what you're saying, it leaves you to believe that he could be alive.
No, the documentary lets you to believe that he's actually dead because they went to interview the actual doctor, the forensic doctor that produced the report in India, and he went through like the detailed report on how he contracted a disease, which, by the way, it was Crohn's disease.
Crohn's, yeah, it's from his Crohn's.
And the thing about Crohn's is there's a very small percentage of people that die from Crohn's, by the way. So that's another fishy.
Well, that's what Brian just said. Actually, go post Brian's comment. Exact same thing. It's very few people supposedly Crohn's disease, which rarely is fatal.
Exactly. So what the hell, man? The guy just dies of Crohn's disease.
You know what? With $190 million, I'm sure he can manipulate a doctor in India to say anything he wanted to. I'm just saying. I don't know if it's true or not, but it's crazy.
He died in 2018, right? But and so the documentary lets you to believe that he's actually dead, but it throws in the fact that he could have an accidental death by somebody. So he may be a murder. And it points to the wife kind of like being very, because like they talk about the wife dancing at his funeral.
Yeah.
Which is another kind of a clue on what's going on here. It's either maybe he just took off with all the money and with his wife, and she was happy that they were going to do that, or something else happened, because like you don't mourn people, I mean, your loved one like that, right? Right in the funeral, she was talking to people. See, look at this. Tamara, she's saying, or his wife murdered him, right? So yeah. So what do you think, guys? Did you guys watch this documentary? And I'm sorry about the spoilers, but it's a really good documentary, and it raises a lot of flags, right? So yeah. So guys, one of the things about crypto, be careful on who you're dealing with, right? Even if it's a stock market, and there's a lot of pump and dumps strategies on crypto and crypto scamming, right? And some of them are like like Ponzi schemes, when they promise you like big returns on your investment in crypto, when at the end of the day they just run with your money. It happened here in Kitchener-Waterloo not too long ago. I heard on the news about a month ago of this huge scam going on crypto, and a lot of people got burned because of that. And I think last show was about crypto scams.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. Oh man, this is
number 5.
We only have like 12 minutes, 13 minutes. This is getting so good, man. And
Elizabeth Holmes.
Elizabeth Holmes.
Great movie on her as well.
Who remembers Elizabeth Holmes? This is getting so good, man. And sorry,
Out
what
for
happened?
blood in Silicon Valley.
Yeah, that's crazy. Theranos. Let's talk about the story. I don't know if you guys know about Theranos, but I have a little clip for you. Let's watch this clip. This is from The Guardian.
We've made it possible to run comprehensive laboratory tests from a tiny sample or a few drops of blood to eliminate the tubes and tubes of blood that traditionally have to be drawn from an arm, and replaced it with the nanotainer.
The youngest billionaire in the world. Is that heady when you hear that?
It's not what matters. What matters is how well we do in trying to make people's lives better.
You founded this company 12 years ago, right? Tell them how old you were.
I was 19.
Yeah.
So, but Theranos also has its critics. And just this morning, the Wall Street Journal ran a pretty scathing article about the company, alleging that the company's proprietary testing devices may be inaccurate, and basically accusing Theranos of deceptive practices. What do you think's going on here?
This is what happens when you work to change things. First they think you're crazy, then they fight you, and then all of a sudden you change the world.
You've said that the journal's reporting on Theranos has been erroneous and, quote, grounded in baseless assertions. The question the community has is, does this work? If you believe that it does, I'd like to hear you say that.
I know it does. I actually don't think that our valuation is what matters here. What matters here is the integrity of our data.
As you know, Fortune went all in on the Theranos story. I think we were the first magazine to put you on the cover. So it was kind of a shock to us to discover a few weeks ago that you're really only doing one test with that pinprick.
We went through these in detail, and we've seen that much of what has been written is not accurate.
There's this man who goes by the initials RC right now in Arizona, who is suggesting that the lab results that he got from Theranos were not accurate, and it led to him having a heart attack.
All right. Okay. So what do you think about that, man?
3 for 3, guys. Here's my post.
It is pretty crazy. Okay, let's see what the audience have to say about this. All right. Look at that. Brian has more links. Oh man, these links are really hard to get on. Just visit Brian. If you post your LinkedIn, maybe you can post it in there, because I don't think anybody's going to be able to follow all of these.
Exactly. Or follow Brian, guys, on LinkedIn and ask him for the stuff from the podcast, and
yes,
share them with you. Absolutely.
Theranos scandal. Elizabeth Holmes, man.
That was the whole fake it till you make it type of scenario, from my understanding. I mean, I didn't see the show, and I'm not overly familiar with it. But from what I read and what I saw, it was all about manipulation of this new service, this new technology, and everybody bought into it. Everybody bought into it. And it just grew leaps and bounds. But they only had so much data, so much information, so much testing. And she just, again, as I said, she's one of the youngest billionaires in history. And again, it was basically a fraudulent act because it was all fake it till you make it type of scenario.
Yes, yes. There are certain diseases that are easier to be able to run lab analysis on blood, on few drops of blood, and there's like a lot of there's a few companies that we know, a very good company, Boomerang, that does this, right? And it's able to, you send the kit, they send you the kit, you put your blood on it, and then they send you back the results. Boomerang lab, it's very good, very good. But there's other types of more complex diseases, like the one that she was doing, that like just with a couple of droplets of blood, it's never going to give you good results, right?
Well, Gladstone was saying, actually, we have a private chat going on, just so you know, guys. So he's sharing us some information because, again, this is a little bit new to us as well. But saying that some of the testing that she was doing was using other machines for her testing. Is that I don't know that information, but that's what Gladstone's sharing with us.
Yes. So the thing is, like, I mean, she was really young, She was like 30 years old.
Yeah, 19 when she launched it. That was crazy.
She was on top of the world. She was making like $9 billion his company, and he's actually a university dropout by the way. And but the whole thing, people didn't know. So I feel so bad for those people that were doing results and all their lab test, and all the results were bad, were like false positives, or this is a really, really bad thing that she was doing, right? And claiming that the machines were like pretty much magical and hiding the evidence, all of that stuff is it's pretty darn bad, man. So she was sentenced to the maximum sentence, which was like 20 years in prison for fraud.
Crazy.
Yeah. Crazy.
So I'm going to share just so if anybody wants to take any notes here, I'm going to share. I'm looking at my screen over here just to give you guys. There's some really great shows on Netflix and other shows about real life scammers and their movies. So there's one's called Can You Ever Forgive Me? It's a true story about a writer who manipulated documentation to make money.
Hey, Andrew. So before you do that, let's leave that for the end. But
okay,
we have some really good commentary here. So Oscar Garrido is saying they used a Siemens machine.
Oh,
I don't know about that. Is that true?
I know Gladstone was saying that she was taking credit from a machine being used. So maybe, obviously, Oscar's been researching it. So
yeah. I think Brian is saying something else in there too. He's if you can put that on the screen, Gladstone, that'd be great. Her father used to work at Enron.
Really?
Look at that. And her mother once worked at the Hill in DC. Wow.
So again, it's all about connections, right? I mean, at the end of the day, it's manipulation through connections and high people with money and people who are affiliated, etc. So
she learned from the best, man. Enron.
Crazy.
Enron, remember that big scam? I mean, we didn't talk about Enron, but that was huge commodities scam in the, I think, late 1980s.
They went from what, 10 billion to 65 billion and went bankrupt in 24 days or something. I think it was something like insane. Once they went bankrupt, their stock just plummeted. They were a sweetheart, right? Like there was a sweetheart company trading in commodities, in the commodities world, right? It was in the movie. Okay. Movies are very educational. Don't always believe everything in movies, but there you go. It came from the movie.
in the documentary. So what's the name of the documentary again, Andrew?
The one with her is, let me just see here. It's called Out for Blood in Silicon Valley.
Yeah, HBO, from HBO. Inventor. Very good movie.
It's called The Inventor.
The Inventor.
So the movies that I'm just wanted to think that are really worth mentioning, that are fun to watch, educational. Sure. Are you going to learn? So one, Can You Ever Forgive Me? That's the one about the writer.
And who's that?
You know what? I don't have it in front of me, all the information, just the actual. But I know Melissa McCarthy. She's the actress in it. But
yes. Man,
Lee Israel, I think the writer. I think that's who it was.
Yeah, Melissa McCarthy. I love her acting, man. She's great.
She also did that one when they stole the identity. Remember the identity theft or whatever? That was a funny movie. Another one here is Fry, the greatest party that never happened. That's the true story about the two guys who had this incredible party overseas. They invited all kinds of supermodels, and they had thousands and thousands of people go to an island. And they got there and they had to sleep in tents, and there was no food, and it was just horrific. And they went to prison and everything for it as well.
Yes, Brian is talking about Elizabeth's movie, which is The Dropout, right? So he mentions,
okay,
yeah,
perfect.
Yeah. I think that's.
And then, of course, The Inventor, Out for Blood, Silicon Valley, and then, of course, ones we love, Catch Me If You Can, Leonardo DiCaprio. That's a movie about manipulation and making people believe that you're something that you're not. And let me tell you, that was a great movie. If you haven't seen it, you gotta watch it.
Absolutely.
Another one, Wolf of Wall Street. Leonardo DiCaprio is a huge, real life actor, so he likes to play roles where
my favorite scene. I don't know on the Catch Me If You Can is when Leonardo DiCaprio was or Tom Hanks. He was the cop in there, right? Yeah. And he finally caught him, right? He finally caught him
in Germany or something.
The apartment to detain him, and he's in his party.
Oh, that one, yeah.
Red-handed, and he gives him this story about him being an actual cop or FBI and stuff like that.
Right.
He flashes
my wallet.
He flashes the wallet and all of that, and then he opens the window and he's like, "Hey, he's right there. My agent is taking him to jail right now." So Tom Hanks is like, "Okay, perfect," and then he finds out that it was him. And he's like, "See you later." That was a great movie, man.
The Bernie Madoff movie, The Wizard of Lies. So that's another one. So and then there's one here called Catfish. So that's
Oh my gosh, Catfish. That one is a good one.
So that's a good movie as well. And then American Hustle, another one about manipulation and someone taking advantage and screwing people over. And then Enron. The smartest guys in the room. So those are a bunch of movies, guys. Oh, and The Big Short. Bunch of movies that you could really watch and enjoy, and they're going to teach you a lot about fraudulent acts, people not to trust. If it's too good to be true, don't do it. Do your own homework, research. Again, this was just a fun show, guys. It wasn't in our wheelhouse of technology and cybersecurity, but it certainly talks to being aware and be careful. What did Brian say?
Brian says Tokyo Vice is about the Japan scamming in life insurance. True.
Okay, cool.
Nice. Great. Awesome. Great. Thank you so much, everybody. And it's 12:59. Oh, man, the time just went by so quickly. Thank you so much for joining us. Make sure you connect with us next Friday, 12 o'clock. We'll have a great show for you. And we don't know the subject, but it will be posted.
Just Gladstone put on the end. Post Tamara's post. She has a big long one there. I want to get it up there. So she because she has time to put it up. Let's put it up there.
Yeah. Block collection. All right. Block collection requires proficiency and detailed control procedures. Ridiculous to have lab issues and still take people's money when the results are clearly going to be inaccurate.
There you go.
Wow. Yeah, so Tamara, she's in the healthcare industry, so she knows what she's talking about, right?
Beautiful.
All right, guys. Thank you so
everybody.
Much. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, Get Cyber. So, Gladstone, if you can put that on the screen before we leave, and I'll see you next time, 12 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, live, Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube. Cheers, guys.
What about Linkbook? No, see you, everybody.
All right, so who do we have? See you guys.
See ya.
Great show, like Oscar. Always. Thank you, Oscar. Appreciate.
Brian, thanks.
Brian,
thanks,
nice
Brian.
to meet you. Thank you.
Appreciate it. Thank Cengiz.
Cengiz, thank you so much. Happy Victoria Day, everybody.